Okay, guys, we are going to journey into the world of Yu-Gi-Oh! This was a very popular comic, trading card game, and television show in Japan that also became very popular here in the United States many years ago, not so much anymore. So we have two Yugis, as you see here in the upper left-hand side. There is our Yami Yugi and our Yugi Muto. Yugi Muto is our regular, he's a chap, a regular middle school student, and he comes across this ancient Egyptian medallion. And this gives him the powers to turn into Yami Yugo, which is a super duper pooper gamer who gets into all kinds of adventures with his special trading card powers. But it's more than that. He also has possession of some creatures that actually come alive when they are on the board when he's playing his game. So these are some of his friends, and he's got a whole collection of characters that go along with his story. So here is a comic, a Yu-Gi-Oh comic. And I'm going to go through this with you right now because it has some really good lessons for us in terms of how to draw. So we're going to start off with there's a match that Yu-Gi-Oh is going to be participating in. That's the backstory to this 6-page comic we're going to go through. And as you see, there are a bunch of these characters here. These are our, as you see here, the game is for 2 players. Each player has to place 5 capsule monsters on their own side of the board. There's the board. Here are our monsters, our 5 monsters. Now, I want to show you a little bit about how to draw these monsters. And each of these monsters, you see, they have their own skills. This one has nose breath hurricane. This one can chomp, muscle punch, headbutt, flame. They're all different types of characters, and they've all got levels, and they all have to go up against each other with levels. It's a lot like Pokemon Go, which I play, and you really have to know what your character's strengths are in order to fight your opponent. So here we go. There is our setup. We have a board here. Now let's talk a little bit about drawing these characters. Now when you want to draw one of these monsters, you have to start off with some very, very basic guides. Yeah, you have your basic shapes. We talked about this in Fun with a Simple Circle, which I have available online as a lesson, and it'll go through how you make these circles into your your characters. So turn it off. You see there are your, and they have to be fitting into the capsules. We'll talk about that shortly. Now let's look at the board at the bottom. And the board has all kinds of different places, evolution space, battlefield 25, places where you have to get your characters in order to do various things. So we're going to go through, look at these guides here. Whoa, huh? When you build your checkerboard, which is something we're going to do, you see that the lines all go back in space and they don't actually lay straight. They come together at a point. So this is really important. Just keep that in mind because we're going to be setting up our own board and making up our own creatures. And then here we have, so we have our guides going that way, and then you have regular old horizontal lines. So that's how we are going to be setting up our basic checkerboard. Now let's go and continue the story. Here we have Yu-Gi-Oh sitting with his team, and we have again we have his creatures. There's our capsules. See the basic shapes for the capsules. And you have to make sure that your creatures are going to fit in those capsules. So when you draw your creatures, again, you have to make sure that you've got your basic shapes all set up. So there we have our creatures. Now, so we're going to turn this off and just go on with the story. So you see his creatures, he's a good guy. So his creatures look much nicer and kinder than the bad guy's creatures. And they have the levels. Notice their levels are lower than the other one. So he's going to have quite a time to try to win this game because the other creatures are more powerful. And that's always a good thing to show how skillful you are when your low-level creatures can beat somebody else's creatures. So Yu-Gi-Oh says, Mokuba, you planned this all along. The machine must have been rigged. There is too much difference in the monster levels. Oh, so there you have it. This board has one path on each side, but you can't get by. The enemy is waiting for you now to fight. See if you can think up a good formation for those monsters. Place your capsules in your territory. So Yu-Gi-Oh has a big challenge ahead of him. And this is a good thing when you tell a story. Always make your characters have to face a terrible challenge. So here's our next page. So we have our characters set up on the board now. Mokuba's monsters are closing in on him. That pointy-haired kid hasn't made a single move. What are you doing? Yug, go, invade the enemy territory. And Yu-Gi-Oh, see, he's like meditating. He's really thinking about his doing. And Mokuba, he's sure that he's going to win. Dadoom! Look, Mokuba's got him surrounded. Now, I want you to take a notice what happens here on the board. The characters are placed on the board, right? So what are we going to be doing? There's our board, see? And our characters are overlapping. Just going right over those lines, right? So when you take away the picture, you've got your basic shape sitting right on top of the lines. This is a very important thing. Well, we're going to be doing our checkerboard to remember this concept. So on to our next page. Whoa, the virtual monsters are on the big field. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Armosaurus moves. I go first, says Mokuba. We'll stick by you no matter what, Yugi. There's no flip side to friendship. Everybody is really behind Yu-Gi-Oh. You gotta win. Come on, Yugi. Now, let's talk about the drawing before we go on to the next exciting page. We have big monsters are closer, and far away we have the other monsters, right? So this is a very important concept for setting up our checkerboard. The stuff that's going to be closer to you as you're looking at the page are going to be bigger, and the things that are far away are going to be smaller. So another concept. Now let's go to the next page. Whoa, clack. I thought he gave up. Wow, he made his first move. And I have circles around our characters here because you can see Yu-Gi-Oh! Again, he's far away, so he's smaller. And this guy's close up. You don't see his whole head, right? Just part of it because you're looking over his shoulder. But look how much bigger his head is than Yu-Gi-Oh's because he's closer. So we have Yu-Gi-Oh! Making all kinds of sounds. Look at those cool way that all the lettering is all different. Very important lettering for sound effects. Armosaurus isn't over. Ha! I'm not done yet. Armosaurus level 5. He goes and he just crunches the brain slime for level 1. He burns up your weakling monster in one blast. You too late. I'll attack with Armosaurus. Oh, you know what, guys? I'm reading it the wrong way, aren't I? This part in Japanese goes first. So you're late, Yugi. I'll attack with Armosaurus. Kadong. He burns up the brain slime, and you have a reaction here from Yu-Gi-Oh! Because in Japanese comics, you read them right to left. Ah, Sorry, guys, that my bad. But I'm not going to start over. I'm just going to keep going because this is all about drawing, right? So here we go with our drawing, and here we are. He attacks one more monster. Topo level 1, Armosaurus level 5. Special ability, armor attack. Curls up into a ball, and it goes on and on about his abilities. And then, wahaha, you've already lost 2 monsters, says Makuba. But it's not over yet. I won't give up until the end. I'm going to have some fun and destroy all your monsters. Just that Armosaurus, ha ha ha. Go Armosaurus, flatten that wimp. So we have, and this is the last page, so I'm not even going to tell you how, we're not going to have to, you're going to have to just make up how this whole story ends. So anyhow, so boom, I'm going to put a point there. Why am I going to put a point there? Because look, for you guys that like to do explosions, notice how all the points to the lines just go back to that point to make a nice explosion. Farum. So you got to remember that too. So there is our introduction to the checkerboard, the game, and so guys, let's go on to drawing our checkerboard and making up our own game.